Good day to our dear friends in retail and allied industries. I'm CJ Ascenda, your host and the PRA thought leader. I'm thrilled to welcome you back to a brand new Let's Talk Retail season. Can you believe it? We are now in season 6 and this is our 44th episode. Time really flies. In this exciting season, we are bringing you fresh perspectives you will not want to miss. We have an incredible lineup of guests who are ready and willing to share unique insights and their retail journey. Season 6 kicks off with the next generation of retailers, featuring names gaining traction in the Philippine retail industry. Get ready to be inspired as they reveal their extraordinary stories as they make their mark in our industry. But before we dive into our very first guest of the season, you know the drill, spread the word. Be sure to like and subscribe to the PRA's YouTube channel and also on Spotify, right? And you will not miss an episode. All right, let's start off with our guest for today. He's the visionary behind the national brand Straightforward, a name synonymous with simplifying fashion to versatile, timeless basics designed for young, stylish go-getters. Since its beginnings at Ateneo, he has expertly guided Straightforward from a humble startup to a brand on the verge of disrupting local ready-to-wear fashion. He is here to share insights on how innovation, quality, and a deep understanding of consumer needs fuel brand growth and drive success in today's highly competitive markets. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming to the screen Jerald Sze, the founder and managing director of Straightforward. Hi, Jerald.
Hi guys. Hi CJ. Hi. So grateful to be here.
And nice to see you again after that very successful 30th NARCE. That was a very interesting panel. And I guess I think this is a continuation. We just want to understand you in more, I think, more drilled down as compared to that group where you had, I think we were all lucky in that panel. It was the 4 most handsome faces in Philippine retail.
No, I'm glad, and people were, after our event, people were still talking about it. People were talking about our answers, your questions. That's a huge sign of success, right?
And I think that
To be a part of their conversation even after we've had our conversation.
that's right. And I think we'll be for 31st NARCE, we will be doing it. And I hope this time we'll have the beautiful faces of the next generation. All right.
Nice.
So let's start off with the story behind Straightforward. What inspired you to launch Straightforward in 2011, correct?
Yes. So when I was 2011 was me during second or third year college.
Right.
I was a student then, and when I was a student, what I realized was I had so much time. And one of the things that really led me to start doing something, not even straightforward, was just the realization was that God was so fair that He gave everyone 24 hours. He
Okay.
gave you 24 hours. He gave me 24 hours. He gave Taylor Swift 24 hours. He gave Elon Musk 24 hours. Everyone had 24 hours. Now, what I realized then was what set really good people apart from the everyday people is how much they can make out of that 24 hours, right? So when I was a student, I realized I had so much time. My friends had so much time. And it was just in me to have to have enough hunger to turn a few hours of my time into something productive. Then I was a college student. First thing that came to my mind was really just whatever business opportunity that comes to my way, I'll just do it and I'll do it good. Whatever was in front of me, I will just do it and do it really, really, really well. Right. So if you ask, if there's any insight that led me to really
Yeah.
come with straightforward, I would say that it would be in the school where I was from. I graduated from Ateneo, walang school uniform. So I thought it was a challenge not just for myself, but for my friends as well to, every day you would want to have a more straightforward way of choosing clothes. And that's how it came up to be.
Was this a part of a requirement in Ateneo?
It's not. It's not. It's something that's done outside of the curriculum. So it was really something that I used my free time from.
So Straightforward, the name Straightforward comes from what? The pain of dressing up every day? of
yeah,
choice.
the desired behavior, the desired mindset and comes when it comes to choosing what you want to wear every day. So you would want to wear something that's, that's uh tasteful enough to be relevant, bold enough to be original, right? Something that's very comfortable, but and yet it allows you to really express what you want to say through clothes.
Okay. So it becomes your personality, but easy to put on.
Yes, yes.
All right.
Um,
So in the early days, so 2011, 2012, 2013, what were your learnings in those formative years of straightforward?
So when I was a student, there were so many businesses that my friends and I did. No, and not as partnerships. They did it on their own. I did it on my own. So I think one of the things that I really learned was that in the initial stages, you gotta move fast. There's this African proverb that says, if you wanna go fast, you go alone. If you wanna go far, you go together. I think it's very important to know that on the early stages of the business, you want to go fast. You're really just going for survival. You're just trying to get your first product market fit. So being a lone ranger when I started was such a huge advantage. I did not have to for me to make, the trivial decisions. I did not need to get any approvals just because I started it alone, right? I was able to move fast. Yeah.
But is that sustainable? Being alone.
No, so that
That's
it's something
year
that I
five.
had to learn when my business turned adolescence,
Okay. All right.
to turn on its face of adolescence, right?
Okay.
Um, that's when I learned that building a team is just as important as building a brand. So that's onto my next phase. That's probably me 2016 to 2018.
2016, pre-COVID.
Pre-COVID, but the brand's gaining traction already.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And,
Yeah.
and 2019, 2020, what were your learnings onwards during the COVID period?
Um, my strongest takeaway from COVID was
Yes.
that we gotta stay true to our digital roots. Straightforward was founded primarily on digital. So even until now, really realize that success begins online first. If we rely on mall traffic alone, we're not gonna survive. What I learned, say for example, I open a store, um, the stores next to me close. That's not gonna uh I wouldn't say that what could have been the traffic that went to the store the stores that closed would go to ours. Hindi naman ganun yun eh.
Yeah.
Right? So right now, the game of shopping actually does not really start in malls, it starts in mobile.
All
It just
right.
happens that, I mean, for us, we're lucky enough to have stores so much that when we win online and on mobile, they get to activate that behavior or whatever is it that we unlocked in mobile, that emotional unlock. They get to activate that in our physical stores.
Okay, we're going to go back to that emotional unlock, the omni-channel experience when we talk about the brand itself. But I want to understand after COVID, 2022 to current, post COVID, what are the key learnings you have? You're already on your 30th store, if I counted that right.
Still really the same. I feel like, and I want to double down on that learning, CJ, that brands nowadays, you gotta win online first. You can't rely on mall traffic alone. Um, so when people, especially in retail, when people shop in malls now, they're quite intentional. I mean, even before they put their first step on malls, they there are already biases formed. And a lot of these biases that formed over which brands will they want to enter, which brands will they want to purchase from, those are formed in on their mobile phones, right? So what I learned there is that we're not just a merchandising company. we've become so much like a content production company,
Yes, I saw your current campaign for your Valentine.
right? For Valentine's, right? So, we're not just selling clothes. We're in the business of really building connections with our customers through the best content ever. We got to show them that we get them.
Okay, I like that. We get them. So let me backtrack a bit and say, with all the incumbents and emerging clothing brands, what makes you different from them? Especially, how do you stay fresh and relevant after 14 years?
Yeah. So what's so different with retail nowadays is that I remember sharing this in the NRCE is the customers nowadays are so fickle. You could be relevant today and not be relevant tomorrow. I think what sets us apart and what will set us apart is really our obsession over our community. That we really make it a point to show that we get them, and we actually do. We know what bags, we know what colors, we know what quality means to them. So much that we should be able and to so much that we should be able to design the right product and release it at the right time for them.
Okay. Um, Let me bring it back. This word is obsession with your community. How do you get to understand your community? I mean, what are what are the touch points that you get to know? Do you do research? Do you do social media hearing, listening? What can you what processes do you um, go to go through so that you will understand your community better and that contributes to your obsession?
Multiple layers. I guess the first layer is um well, at least I would speak for myself. I would be in our stores. There are days that I would visit 7 or 8 stores a day just so I could smell the room, smell the people that come into the room to come into our stores. And I would try to correlate that to the second layer, which is what I see online. What's nice about retail and being in retail nowadays is that it's dati kasi y- um you get to see people buying your product, but you don't get to see them using your product. Today, you get to see them using your product because you get to see them post pictures about you, and you see them they take straightforward bags with them to Paris. They take their straightforward bags with them or straightforward apparel with them to Palawan, right? And you get to see how they use it. You get to see how it affects their lives. So it's a lot about being present um and engaging with them whenever they tag us, right? Or whenever they want to seek our attention, right? So another thing also is we have this community, it's called our Go-Getter Club
Right.
on Facebook,
Oh, yeah, I see.
right? So the idea there is they're communing over their love for straightforward. And just by seeing that, we get to see what is it that they love to commune over. Is it their bag collection? What is it about their bag collection? Is it the color choices, right? So I mean, people say, right, a picture can give 1,000 words, right? And true enough, you can really get so much from the pictures that they post. Especially if you give so much attention to that.
So when you look at the pictures, what do you use it for? You know how you look at durability? What is the use of those pictures? Because old school, back in the day, it could be a user attitude study, a product study. How do you do it now in the age of digital?
You want I usually compile all of them
Okay,
and find commonalities,
right.
right? I would look at, commonalities in terms of, what they pair it with, what apparel goes well with what, where are they usually? Here Gen Zs, right?
Right.
They love what they call their third spaces. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
There's the first space is their home, second is their workplace. And what is that third space? It's usually a cafe or a gym. And usually that third space is where they really express themselves or they love to to take pictures of themselves and identify themselves with. So in those pictures they post, it's normally in their third spaces, right? So we observe that too, and use that to help develop campaigns from.
Okay, you brought the Gen Z market. What is your core market now? Is it millennial? Because I've even seen a baby boomer in your in your campaign. Two
Mm.
old couple, a senior couple, kissing each other. So it's
Yeah.
multi generational, or are we looking at a core market of millennials and Gen Z? I'm trying to observe it from all your materials.
I Straightforward is mostly catered since we've really launched a lot of our campaigns online, right? So, and a lot of the people are online are really Gen Zs and millennials. Now, I wouldn't go as far as saying, hey, we only cater to Gen Zs or millennials. Um, so straightforward, our core purpose, for the reason why straightforward has to exist, is because we want to bring out the go-getter in everyone. Whether you're a baby boomer, whether you're a Gen Z or you're a millennial, we want to bring out the go-getter in you. So
Define,
we
define
describe
go-getter. Sorry,
yeah,
define go-getter.
so the way we define, so the way we talk about our audience, we label them as put together go-getters. That's our audience. These are people that want to look put together and go get it in such a way that they have aspirations, they have strong ambitions. They want to be the best versions of themselves. They want to live. So go getter, what does that mean? They want to live their best lives. And we want to use fashion as a platform to help them get there. That's why straightforward has to exist. Exist, yeah.
Okay, so it's not anymore a demographic; it's a psychographic. It's a way of thinking that
Yes.
looking at that's
And
the
and and that's that goes beyond generations. It's
good.
really a mindset that there's really a go, and in the same way that Nike believes that everybody is an athlete, we also think that there is a go-getter that we can bring out in everyone.
Okay, I like the conversation on third place because that seems to be a theme now for the resurgence. Well, that's retail stores are becoming a third place. Coffee shops are becoming a third place. What are the third place or places of your go-getters? Where are they?
Um, well, well, um,
From your compilation.
First of all, I mean, top of mind are really cafes. It's such a nice third space for them. That's where they get to, some cafes start offering pottery lessons, right? Painting. I was just in a conversation with some of our Gen Z employees, and they were telling me, hey, you know what? In this cafe, I was painting. They were painting on a weekend, and what a nice activity, right? And these are young professionals. These are people that have jobs, right? And these are not students. Um, so third spaces as a means to push their hobbies, right? Hobbies that they've never done before, to get to know themselves in another light. So cafes as number one, weekend markets for sure. Gyms. People
Yep.
love to go to gyms as their third space. I mean, that's where they de-stress.
Running,
Uh,
which is the new dating app.
yeah. Yes, yes. Run clubs. No, so third spaces are not just that does not necessarily mean, enclosed,
Right.
vicinities, right?
So
It's not. It's actually your third group of people. If your first group of people is your home, second is your work, you have your third group of people, and that's what third spaces could also mean.
so it's beyond the walls. It's a
Beyond the walls, beyond the pin location.
okay. Let's bring the conversation to your SOCNet, your socials. I have seen you're an IG, FB community, TikTok, Viber Health, and YouTube. What is the role of each platform vis-a-vis your core market of go-getters?
Um,
How do you use them? How do you use these platforms?
so each platform is used has a different objective, right?
Right. Can you
LinkedIn, for
share?
example, ibang-iba yun. But I think lalo na for Instagram, it's a means for us to really paint that go-getter life. What does a go-getter look like? That's what we are trying to push. For TikTok, overall, it's really just a means for us to connect to our audience, to express in an art form what straightforward looks like. But overall, it's really a means for us to win our customers over so much that they will want to purchase from our stores. Ultimately, we're still a merchandising company, and we live off profit from each merchandise sold. So the way we use our social media channels is to really position our products in the best light, so much that we get their parang we win them over, that they end up in our stores.
Is there any particular social media platform which is strongest for you that you're observing it as the most effective in engaging your core market of go-getters?
Well, we have not quite, I wouldn't say we've won on TikTok, but that's a platform that we want to win big.
Right.
Mainly because information there is, I feel like it's more raw, it's unfiltered, um, and it's directly tied to commerce too. So it's easier to correlate a lot of our output with results because of TikTok Shop. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to win big. That's the goal for the year.
Still talking of platforms, how are you versus the selling platforms of Lazada, Shopee, Zalora, Shein, and Temu? Are they friends or foes, and why?
I was just reviewing our numbers for e-commerce,
Yeah.
and I feel like we've been using Lazada and Shopee and TikTok Shop quite well. We're instead of looking at them as foes, I mean, we look at them as friends. We look at them as a tool to connect to more go-getters, as a means to, make our merchandise more accessible to people. I'm sure people have their wallets. They like the familiarity of Lazada service and Shopee service, wherever san sila mas hiyang, that's perfectly fine. So, we want them to work on our side. And these platforms, they're quite cooperative. Um for Temu and Shein, I think they have their own supply chain. I would also consider them as friends, because I think with them we double down on our focus, and we understand that, hey, we're not going to fight the price war, right? We are going to be in the brand building game. We are going to make our promise to our go-getters known so much that they get why we price the way we price.
So you would think, I would, my takeaway is Lazada and Shopee will give you the geographical reach, while Shein and Temu will take you to what's out there and and as a comparison, because these are alternative sources.
No, no, Shane and Temu, they are, I would say they are challengers, right?
Okay,
And
reference.
they are challengers, and they help us get better.
Oh,
They that's what I meant, right?
okay.
They force us to sharpen our campaigns better. They force us to be leaner as an organization. They force us to think deeper, to dig deeper, and to be better than who we used to be. Parang kasi they set the bar high, in terms of providing value to our customers. Now, we're also forced to really push the envelope too.
and you enjoy competition.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say we like competition. I
Yes,
mean, I'd be delusional to say that, but we use them. I mean, what can we do, right?
exactly. So how do you use competition?
We use them as a strong benchmark.
Okay,
We
that's
use them as a strong benchmark for what good is. Like as I've mentioned, they bring so much value to customers all over the world. Same with Uniqlo, right? So that puts us in a position that, okay, ito yung alas nila, what can we do better, right?
okay. That's a healthy attitude.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Online will replace offline in the Philippines?
I honestly don't think so. I think people still crave physical interaction. I mean, malls are still the modern day plazas, and it's still a fantastic third place. It's a fantastic third space for Filipinos. And at the same time, Filipinos love mobile so much.
Yeah.
So the synergy will just keep getting will just keep getting stronger. I wouldn't say it's an either or, but it's so much a synergy. I mean, I feel like there's still no present substitute for physical interaction. And while that's still the case, um, they will still complement each other.
Is this more a Filipino behavior, or do you see it also happening, let's say, in other countries?
I think it's a very human behavior. No, I feel like we have five senses and sense of touch is still one of them, right? So until there's a technology that can mimic sense of touch, that can mimic physical presence, then I think offline and offline should still synergize.
Okay, let's talk about your being the next generation leader. Who do you consider as your mentors and why?
Mentors. I'm quite fortunate to be part of entrepreneurs organization where I get access to, I mean, where I build so much, uh, where where a lot of my peers there, well, decades ahead of me, are just so generous with their information, with the experiences that they've had. But I also turn to books, a lot of reading. I mean, I could only imagine, my entrepreneurial life if I just did not turn to books. I mean, how expensive my mistakes would be, how much time I would have wasted just because I did not know. And, I just want to share and I tell this to my people now, there's really no excuse not to know things because information is out there. I mean, AI, Chat GPT, um, there will always be answers to the things that you know that you don't know, right? So, hindi na pwedeng hindi mo alam, di ba?
Yeah.
Right. So, but I think mentors are very important in such a way that they help you ask the right questions and to be surrounded by people, especially in retail. I mean, a lot of EO members, there that are in retail, um, they give me decades and decades worth of experience, and I'm just grateful that they're very generous, and my team has seen it too, how much I've matured just because I was able to be given maps by these very fantastic people.
Any particular advice that stood out from this, from your co-members in the entrepreneurial organization? Was there one piece of advice that really um, um, hit you hard?
um One advice is there are two kinds of people in the world. Especially when it comes, I shared earlier that building a team is just as important as building a brand, right? And one of the things that hit me hard was there are really two kinds of people in this world. There are people that will curse darkness, and there are people that will light a candle,
All right.
right? And you got to make sure that people that love to curse the darkness, they're not in your team. These are the negative. These are people that always complain, like, why is this our workplace? Why is this thing happening to us? You want to surround yourself. You want to surround yourself with people that instead will want to always choose to light a candle, right? To always be a force of light, especially even especially as they react to things day to day in the business, right?
Okay. So now let's talk about your team. What's the composition of your team? How many percent is millennials, and you're a millennial, and how many percent are Gen Z?
Quite frankly, almost everyone's below 30. Uh, I would say that,
Oh,
yeah, I wish I could show you our office. It's such a and it's so dark all the time only because as a team of creatives, they like dark places.
oh,
Um, Fantastic. I wish I could show you. There was this TikTok meme that when the boss came in the room and started turning on lights, everyone was just shocked, right? Because I guess the standard for most creatives is they want to work in not well lit places, right?
it gives a certain mystery to the
I
magic
wouldn't
they're
say
creating.
mystery. Um, I guess that's where their thinking minds really come alive.
Is there any difference between the millennials and the Gen Zs when it comes to working? Because they are the next generation retail employees.
Um, I wouldn't. I have not seen much. I mean, I hear a lot of people talking about it, but
Yes,
let's not dismiss the idea that Gen Zs and millennials, um, there's so much information is out there already. They
yes.
know what is happening in another company. They know what is happening in a multinational. So you cannot fool them. You cannot, you cannot tell them that uh na ito yung standard at ito lang yun at tatanggapin na nila yon, and they're gonna accept that because they know better, because information is out there. I think if there's anything, it's really that um information is everywhere, right? So, and they have access to information, no? Back in the day, maybe in my parents' walang ganun eh. Right? So the reality of your workplace is your only workplace. And you can conceal information from them. So parang isipin na ito na yun eh. These were the cards handed to me. But now, not only are informations out there for them, they could also start looking at, what are my other job options? And it's as easy as scrolling too. As
Correct.
scrolling social media. So I guess businesses and employers now have to level up so much that they have to really put their money where their mouth is. Na, oy, hindi na pwedeng puro preach lang. Na, hey, we are a fantastic. They really have to show that their employees that they are very valued and not taken for granted.
Okay, I like what you said about employees being very valued and not taken for granted. What do you think are the manifestations, or how do you express to your employees that they're valued and not taken for granted? What was your advice to other retailers on this matter?
Uh, I wouldn't say there's just one. It's honestly a mindset thing. Say, for example, every quarter I make it a point that I report to my employees everything that's happening in the business. I mean,
Oh,
and I believe rightly so, because they put their time, their most valuable asset, they spend it with me as the employer, right? And they can't take their time back. Hindi na nila makukuha ulit yun. And yet they still choose to spend it with me. They put their commute, they spend their time commuting to my office. So what I do is every quarter I report to them, saan ba napupunta yung oras na binibigay nila? Are we actually making progress? And I get to remind them of why Straightforward exists, why you guys show up. And I tell them that you guys show up because we want to use fashion as a platform to help bring out the go-getters in people. So that's just one thing that I do to tell them that, of course, comp and ben is also very, very important. Um so it's multiple layers of things that I do to show them that they are very, very appreciated. Um, but on the other side of the spectrum, um, I also tell them upfront, and they hear it from me when they're not doing well, right? I give them feedback directly if lalo na, and of course on closed doors, I give them respect with their work by giving them feedback. No, hindi yung ay tanggalin na natin kasi hindi magaling, no? Parang ganon. That's quite disrespectful. So even that is part of it.
so my next question was about to describe your leadership style, and based on what you're telling me now, it's a very engaging leadership style. Is there anything else? If I ask your employees how would they describe you, what would they say?
One of my core values as a person is to trust first. I feel like God put me in a position in a that God gave me the capabilities to lead, financial, emotional, mental, technical knowledge to lead, because and for so what my takeaway is from that is um my core value of trusting first, right? So I'm an employee that trusts first, that believes in uh that I know that if I give you my trust, you will take care of it. And I think just by doing that alone, people feel empowered, right? I mean, wow, this guy trusts me so much, right? And for this, I shall treasure it and I shall take care of it and I shall nurture it. So parang that's the way I kick off an employment with a person. Ibang usapan na lang talaga if you break it.
I was going to ask, so how do you react when somebody breaks your trust?
So I really try, I talk to them, I give them feedback, you know. And I make it clear that I don't like to help people that can't help themselves. Um my leadership style is actually to lead with so much love and so much light. Now, if I can't do that with you, then this is straightforward. It's not your place. It's not the place for you,
Very candid. All right.
right? If I can't lead with love, if all you do with my love and my light for you is to squander it, then you shouldn't be here.
Very interesting. Okay, we're winding down the conversation with 4 questions to
Okay.
get to know you, get to know Gerald's other side. So, if you were not the founder and managing director of Straightforward, what would you have been instead?
Uh, quite frankly, I'd probably still be an entrepreneur.
Yes,
But maybe in a different industry, maybe tech, media, food, quite frankly. I honestly love creating things that add value to people's lives.
of course, I know you also have other companies. You have a point of
I do.
visual
I do.
merchandising company, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
but where would so you'd be an entrepreneur but in tech?
Not necessarily. I mean, I'm driven by the idea that so what's fascinating is I'm driven by the idea that I really want to bring the best out of people.
Okay,
Whether through fashion, whether through LED walls, whether through brandwear. Brandwear is Tailored Projects, my other business that does company uniforms, right? Which I label as brandwear. That helps bring out the best in whatever a company wants to say. We use brandwear to help them convey that.
wait a minute. You have 3 companies. How do you divide yourself across 3 companies?
Um, Trusting. I really make it a point to work with people that I could really trust, that I could give so much of my love to, that I could give so much of my light to, so much they're empowered to actually make the right decisions.
Okay. Ah, now, knowing what you know today, what would you tell your 21-year-old self? That's about 10 years ago. No.
Yeah, more than 10 years ago, 12 years ago.
Yeah, what would you tell your
Um,
21-year-old self, Gerald?
I would tell my 21-year-old self this. Industry, process, or talent, which is most important? And I would tell my 21-year-old self that the industry is far most important. So you could have the best talent in the world, you could have the best processes in the world, but if you're in an industry that just does not, it's just in a sunset industry. It's just about to really close doors. Wala mangyayari. Very important that as a 21-year-old with all the energy that that 21-year-old Gerald has, to choose an industry that will really bring the best out of your talent and processes. Because
So, what would you tell a 21-year-old Gerald? EQ or IQ?
both. Both, but I mean, I'm sure people don't measure EQ enough, but EQ is very important. But yeah,
Is EQ more important during your younger years, or is it more important as you go up, as you get older? For you as a leader,
I've never asked myself that question, um, but I wouldn't, I don't think it should be an either or. I think the best leaders, the level 5 leaders are really both. No one really works, no one, I mean, as personable as you are, no one would really want to work for you if they deem you incompetent, right?
true. Your smile can only take you so much. So,
Yeah. Your friendliness can only bring you so far, right?
yeah. Okay, last 2 questions.
Yeah.
Last 2 questions. What is the one piece of advice you can give aspiring entrepreneurs, the next generation?
execution beats ideas. That the market rewards really those who take action, adapt fast, and stay consistent.
That's three good pieces of advice. All right, my last question. What are you hopeful for in 2025?
Of course, stronger leaders and teams within our organization. Like I said, I really want to lead. I want to, so one of the things that I'm very particular about with 2025 is not so much with what I want to achieve by December 31, 2025, but how I feel, but achieving what I want to achieve in 2025 and how I feel achieving it. Does that make sense? Like, I want to end 2025 achieving what I did and yet feeling effortless and yet feeling so much love in the workplace that everyone just loves what they do. Everyone just comes to work excited even as we hit our targets.
You're a vibe creator. You like to create a good vibe.
Because I think that's the only sustainable way to grow the brand. There is no other way. I mean, pangit naman siguro that we hit our targets, but people are burnt out, right? And it's
Right.
really it's not gonna get us to somewhere 2026. And quite frankly, I realize that I'm playing a longer game than I think. I'm not playing a 1 year or 3 year game. I'm playing a much longer game than I think.
Well, since you talked about the longer game, you have more than 30 stores, if I'm not mistaken. What are you looking at now? What international expansion? Have a store in every city of the Philippines. What are the other you know things you want to conquer?
I mean, this year is quite a handful. We have 9 stores lined up to open, so that's quite I mean, in our that's more than 25% stores, depend in terms of store count. Um, yeah, so locally dominant, internationally significant. That's the thing about Filipinos, right? I don't think people will really respect you locally until you're popular internationally. So, I mean, we're still doing business in Malaysia, we're still doing business in Indonesia, right? But to be a commercial success there, so much that will get international recognition, that's still something within our in our plans.
Okay, very aggressive, very hopeful. Thank you
Yeah.
very much, Gerald. You really spoke from the heart. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you for having me, and I wish I was able to add value to your show and everyone listening.
As I told you during the Narce and even a few minutes ago before we started recording, speaking from the heart, the magic happens. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Our 44th episode, Season 6, Let's Talk Retail. Guest, Jerald Sze, founder and managing director of Straightforward. This is CJ Hasena, leasing consultant and PRA thought leader, wishing you a good day, and we'll see you again through YouTube or Spotify. Keep in touch. Stay tuned to our 45th, 46th, 47, and other episodes coming up soon. Thank you. Good day.